Morning hustlers. We got a special guest in the building right now. Let me just say this. This guy, I just finished Colin in Black and White. And this young man was so impressive that when they said he wanted to check in with the Morning Hustle, I said, I have to speak to him. Jaden Michael is here. Good morning to you, Jaden.
Thank you. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
First off, congratulations on a very successful series. I see you got the braids. They're not quite the Allen Iversons, but you got the fresh braids in, man.
Yeah. I had to do it for the show.
You had to do it for the show. I loved it, man. First off, again, you did such an incredible job, but this was such an important story to tell because a lot of people have seen Colin Kaepernick in terms of his adult life, and we don't really see how he got to this point mentally. And you really encompass what it was like for him growing up. Talk a little bit about his experience versus your own personal experience growing up.
I think it's a little different. You know, he was raised by white parents in Whiteville, California, and I was born and raised in New York with a beautiful and loving Latin family. So, you know, to an extent, we've had different experiences with our race and with our culture, but to the same extent, I think we've both had conflict or questions in regards to the Black side of our race and where the other side of our roots. And I think, you know, that's just something that we have in common, but it doesn't help making young Colin any easier.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because young Colin, man, I felt so bad for him in the sense of, like you said, he's growing up. Not only is he growing up with two white parents, they're older. He's also in this town that is very white, like Confederate flag white. And he really struggles in the sense of, you know, you have this constant face of like, no one else gets what's going on here. Like, it's kind of like this gaslighting that's going on. You know, what are your thoughts in terms of just like, for him being raised in that type of environment, what that does to you psychologically? Because it seemed like no one could relate. And the few times that he did find people that he could relate to, it's almost like it made his parents uncomfortable. So they kind of took him out of those environments.
It represses you as a young person. The only thing you want to do is discover yourself and speak openly and find where you belong. And having to have those constraints against you, those things restrain you from being yourself and finding where you belong and who you want to spend time with. It's a big responsibility and a heavy weight.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit of as well. It kind of took me back because I remember the Allen Iverson era and things like that. How was it in terms of wearing the clothes from back in the day and just kind of seeing the culture of that time? What was that like for you?
I don't know why. I'm always doing like period pieces. I've done two pieces in the 70s, now like the 2000s. I don't know. It's a recurring theme. Honestly, I love it though. It makes you feel like so in the moment.
Yeah.
I remember I did a TV show, another Netflix TV show called The Get Down. And, it was period piece based on the 70s. And I remember I had been watching a lot of documentaries about the 70s, just trying to get more research. And I don't know, it was something about those bell bottoms that just made me walk different. I was in it. I was in that New York vibe. So I don't know. I think the clothes are an essential part to your character when you're on set.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially the braids. Again, the Allen Iverson braids part was hilarious, especially when she braided your hair way too tight.
That was the first time in my life I ever got my hair braided.
Really?
Yep.
So was it really tight? Like how was that for you? Because, you know, first time people get cornrows in general, depending on who's doing it, it's very uncomfortable maybe the first day or two, unless you got a really good braider.
Actually, no, before shooting that scene, we did a camera test and they braided my hair. And that was the first time I braided my hair and that hurt. The second time my scalp was like, it was, you know, it had a second layer of scalp. I don't know. It was ready.
Exactly. That's what happens. I mean, once you break the scalp in, you can braid that thing up, you know. You just got to be careful about pushing that hairline back too far, you know.
Well, I mean, as you can see, my forehead has increased by like 5 inches.
You look good. We got Jaden Michael checking in. He is the star. He plays young Colin and Colin Kaepernick, Black and White. And I want to move on to the to me, the bigger part of the story, beyond his struggle in terms of identity, the bigger part of this story is about not letting anybody tell you how to live your life and you embracing your own power despite all the odds. So I learned a lot about Colin in terms of the fact that he was this incredible baseball player. And in his mind, he had a dream that no one else believed in. Speak to telling that part of the story in terms of just his will, relentlessness to say, this is what I'm going to do no matter what.
I mean, I think that's very admirable. It's something that I myself have been struggling with for the better part of my life. I started acting when I was 3, and I wouldn't say I really fell in love with it until I was 7, when I truly realized what I was doing, and I truly fell in love with the film industry and telling stories. But nevertheless, I feel a strong connection to Colin's dedication and relentlessness towards his career, towards his football career, and the fact that he kept on pushing. There have been times in my life where I've been close to an opportunity, and the fact that it doesn't happen, I say, what more could I have done, And I think back to what I could have changed and how I can use those things to apply in the future. But it's almost like if Colin won't even take that, he won't take using it forward. He wants what he wants, and he attacks for it every day.
Yeah.
And I find that very admirable.
Yeah. Before we let you go, Jaden, what would you want? What do you want people to take from Black and White? A lot of people have a lot of opinions about Colin Kaepernick, whether they agree with what he's done or not. But what do you, from someone who's played him in this different space that a lot of people just don't know about? What do you want people to take from this Netflix series?
To be open. We've been trying to have this conversation for 200 years, right? We've been trying to ask people to be placed into the other person's shoe and to imagine how it feels like. And we've tried a lot of different mediums. We've tried protest and riots and Twitter and kneeling and loads of other different methods to try and get our point across. And I just hope that actually using the medium of film, which is so which can place audience directly into the shoes of the character, can help lend to a different point of view for the audience to see a different side of the conversation. And even if you can't agree with the morals or the political aspect of the situation, morally, you can come to coincide with Colin's respectability and the amount of work and effort he left on the table in order to support something bigger than himself.
Absolutely. The last thing I'll say is it seemed like the training to be extremely athletic like him was intense. Did you have to do a lot in terms of the football and the baseball and all these training camps he was going to? How was that training, the physical process of becoming young Colin? What was that for you?
I never once played team sports growing up.
Really?
No.
Not one team sport?
No. Actually, there was like 3 weeks that I did like a basketball team thing in New York. And I was terrible. I didn't even know how to screen people. They're like, don't use your hands. I'm like, what? Why would it's best? I was terrible. So no, I didn't know how to play any team sports. So they had to
yikes. Because you look like a pro. I mean, Colin is borderline. He literally was a professional like baseball athlete as a high schooler. And he had an incredible arm in football. So wow, for you to not even be into the team sports thing, you didn't really that's even better acting than
it was like 2 months before shooting, and I was just like, listen, Ava, Colin, we need to get this right. Give me as much tryouts and workouts as I can get. And it was just every day, even on the weekends, working with trainers to try and get my ability up there to match Colin or get on the film, just on the screen.
No, that makes sense. Colin was on set with you?
No. So because of COVID, they had to separate the teams. So there was a New York team and a California team. And so the New York team was all of Colin's shoots, and the California team was all of my shoots, or the B side of the story. And yeah, so he never really was on set. I remember one time there's this really tall a person of color with this nice black jacket on. And I was like, oh my God, Colin's here. So I ran towards the guy and I was gonna give him my hand.
Then
Yeah, it was someone standing in as him, but Colin never came to set. No.
so did you ever get a chance to, I mean, we've seen you guys, I think, on red carpets. I feel like I've seen, unless that's kind of been virtual looking too. I don't know I don't know if people are really
It's a
standing beside each
hologram.
other. Right. I don't know what's going on these days, but when you finally did come face to face with him, if you have, what was that conversation like for you? Was he really, excited about what you brought to him as a young man?
Well, first time I met him in person was after we finished shooting, and they wanted to get it on tape. They wanted to record us meeting each other. And so they put me to the side, and I'm getting in my head, and I'm starting to think about all the things that are going to go wrong. I'm like, oh my God, he's going to fire me. He's going to tell me I did so bad. And, but no, he was like, I'm super proud of you and the work that you put in. And I'm thankful that you were brave enough to tell the story. And that meant a lot to me because I didn't even think about that side of it. I just wanted to support Colin and to match their expectations and match their bravery.
Yeah, you did a good job, especially with his accent, because he has an interesting accent to me. It's kind of like
It's actually really cool, the storyline. So
mm,
basically, I was explaining because I was like, it sounds kind of Southern, and they're like, yeah. So basically, during the Missouri Compromise and the 40-40 division line, a lot of escaped slaves and freed slaves would travel north with either with their masters or on their own to Minnesota and Wisconsin. So they still have a malingering Southern accent.
mm.
And so that's kind of where it's like a mixture of Wisconsin accent and a Southern accent.
Yeah.
That was, it was pretty difficult to find, but
Facts. Yeah. I mean, I was like, you nailed it because it seemed like a pretty difficult accent, but you nailed it on that one. And so again, Jaden Michael, congratulations on everything. Congratulations on the success. Last thing I guess I would ask you is, after playing young Colin, did it give you a better understanding, or did you feel for me, it gave me a little bit more clarity on why he was kneeling. And I know, and I say that in the sense of, like, I know a lot of people look at his protest at the time was kind of based around what was happening, right? But to me, after watching the story, I felt like a part of his kneeling dealt with this childhood of repression, repressing and gaslighting that occurred in his life. And I think a lot of it was like, he's got this stage, and for so long he hasn't been able to say what he really feels and be who he really is. And it felt like the kneeling, to me, watching this series, I could see part of his childhood, part of young Colin, is a part of him kneeling as well. Would you agree with that, or did you feel a little bit more connected to a lot of like his activism today based on what he went through as a young person?
yeah, he's a rebel at heart. Not from the beginning. I think he learns that through the trials and tribulations he's put in or put through because of his white background and the community he was raised in. But through those situations, like being rejected because of nothing other than skin color, and trying to find where he belongs, he learned to be rebellious and to stand up for what he believes in, and to use his voice. And I don't think young Colin truly fully realizes himself in the first season or in the mini series, but it does show the footsteps that lead to greatness and the footsteps that lead to being a legend.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us, hanging out with the Morning Hustle Show. Let everybody know how we can follow you, keep up with you. Next time we'll see you on the big screen, small screen, streaming screen. Let us know. Keep us up to date.
Yes, sounds good. My name's Jaden Michael. I guess all my social media handles are just my name. I don't really use social media like that, but follow me anyway, I guess. I don't know. It gives me good clout with the girls.
Are you anti-social? What makes you? Why aren't you on socials like that?
I just
too much.
I don't agree with the guidelines and the practices of major social media companies like TikTok and Instagram. I think it's completely hypocritical for companies to sell your information and data because, well, it's on the guidelines and the 400-page terms and conditions that you sign, but protecting the people who they're selling their information from and protecting the children who they know are on the platform is not something on their agenda, which is completely hypocritical to me, and I don't agree with it. So that's why I try not to use it. I try not to give them my business, but I understand that I'm kind of in the entertainment business, so I
just a little bit.
I have to contribute, but yeah, I try and stay away. Like personally, I don't use any of it.
Can we get your number and text you then?
No.
I thought I'd try. I know our ladies are watching, and I'm sure they'd love to slide in your text messages if you're not picking up DMs.
But coming up, I'm producing a feature film, and I just finished doing a pilot for an Amazon show, and I'm working on my music and a bunch of other things. So just stay tuned. A few more years, you'll hear from me again.
There it is. Not a few more years. I'm sure we'll be seeing and hearing plenty of you throughout the years, but looking forward to continuing to grow with you on your journey. You've done a lot of great things, and it's just great to see a talent like you who has the mind that you have. And, I wish you all the best in your future, man.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank
you,
everybody.
There it is. Jaden Michael. Catch him on Netflix, Colin in Black and White, man. It's the Morning Hustle Show. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time, man.
Thank you. It's nice to meet you.